gonna hop on because I want to do this video so I don't forget. And it's about, I just recently watched a video on someone else, and they were talking about self-care and growing and not letting yourself go. And I feel like this is so important. I think as women, we get trapped in this idea of like when we finally get the thing, or we finally get the husband or the baby. Obviously, the first year, wash that out of having a newborn. You got to do what you got to do, mama. But I've seen family members do this, and I want to make this clear distinction of, you know, when you finally get the thing, not stopping there, right? Like not stopping, taking care of yourself. The Universe Guru, she's one of the YouTubers I watch. And so, for example, not letting yourself go, saying that you don't have time to take care of yourself anymore, not dressing up anymore, not putting any effort in. And, you know, during the pandemic, I fell into that. I should show you a picture of my, like, everyday outfit. It was, oh my gosh. But that's not to say that we don't go there. I'm not saying don't ever go there. I'm just saying that when you catch yourself going there, if you are choosing to continue to do inner work and improve yourself, when you catch yourself going there, accept it and just say, okay, this is where I'm at, and recheck in on what your desires are. What do you want? So this is what you currently have, your current status, right? Like in the business world, they say, you know, what's your current status versus where do you want to go, right? What's the current state of the business versus where you want to take the business? And I think of that as ourselves too, right? Okay, this is where we've gotten ourselves to. Now recheck in, is this where we want to go, right? Like, is this where we want to be? And if that's where you need to be right now, fantastic. Go ahead and embrace it, do it. But then when you do get to the point where you're like, okay, it's been a while, maybe I should do some sort of self-care to fill myself up. Make sure you're checking in and listening to yourself when that happens. And I want to make a distinction, because I feel like in older generations, this is the difference of how I think this new wave of, you know, feminine energy and feminine being has changed. Because, you know, you can say, okay, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? Like in business, if the business isn't growing, it's dying. Okay, great. But here's the thing. I've seen family members do this where they've gotten themselves into a rut, or they've gotten themselves stuck, and they know they want to get out, and they know they want to improve themselves, but then they start comparing themselves to other people in an attempt to motivate themselves. So what does that look like? It might look like, okay, well, you know, I've wanted to go on these trips, and I'm seeing my friend who is going on all these trips. She's my motivation. I'm not happy. I'm going to work hard. I think the key thing that's different now is the word happiness when you're talking about growth and having a growth mindset. Where I think, where I've seen relatives get stuck is they compare themselves, but in an unhappy way, right? Like downing themselves. And wishing they had what the other person had, but yet not looking at what they do have and being grateful for it, and just recognizing and embracing, hey, okay, this is where I've gotten myself to. I'm going to find some things that I am grateful for, and I am happy and fulfilled, and I also want to get myself to the next level, right? Because when you come from I don't have enough mentality, that turns into scarcity mentality, and you're trying to grow from scarcity. I think it's very difficult to grow from scarcity. I think it is easier to grow from a gratefulness mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And I feel like this is where people have gotten in trouble, and it gets muddled up and murky, and yeah, I want to grow, but then it's complaining, and well, why does so-and-so have this? Why are they going on trips? Why are they doing this? And then they down themselves, and then they down themselves to the point where then they let themselves go, and they stop dressing up, they stop investing in themselves. And so, but in their mind, they're saying, well, I'm doing this to motivate myself to be better, right? And I've had conversations of, you got to be careful falling to the trap of comparing yourself to other people. I believe compare yourself to yourself. Don't worry about, I have found that it's helpful to not worry about what other people are doing. I do listen and observe what other people are doing, but I have stopped trying to compare myself, because I've seen other family members do this, and it ends up becoming a downward spiral. And I haven't seen very many situations where someone claims they want to grow or claims they want to get to a better place, but they're doing it from a scarcity mindset, a comparison mindset of other people. At the end of the day, I've realized, just in all of my gathering knowledge and listening to people, no matter how good it looks like other people have it, I believe that no one gets to go through life without a mountain. At some point, everybody is going to have a mountain. We have a lot of hills. Sometimes we may feel like they're mountains, because it might feel like a hill at the time. But at some point, everybody is going to come up to their mountain. They're going to have to look up, and they're going to have to internally come up with the grit and the perseverance and the will and the inner strength to climb that mountain. And so you have to be careful when you compare yourself to other people, because maybe you're comparing them now, later on in life, but they've had a mountain that you haven't seen or you don't know about, right? And you're looking at them like, well, they have it so easy. Well, maybe right now, maybe they do have it easy or easier. So how can you find ways to make it easy for you? That doesn't mean not doing the work, but finding ways to do the work and also let it be easy and fun. Because I'm outside on my back patio. I have rarely seen it work well when someone has a growth mindset, but they are in a scarcity place, a fear place. They say at the end of the day, there's essentially, you can sum up everything to either being in fear or in love, right? And when you're in one, you actually can't feel the other. So if you're really in love, in gratefulness, in gratitude, focusing on the positive, it is impossible for you to have any sort of fear in that moment. And vice versa. When you're in fear and you're thinking about, so-and-so has this, so-and-so has that, how come I don't get that? It's impossible in that moment for you to feel love, right? Like if you think about the categories and you just, go up and up and up, at the highest level, they say that there's fear and love at the highest level. And so I want to hop on and to talk about, self-care, investing in yourself, wanting to encourage you to think about doing it from a place of looking at all of the things that you have, and you can say, hey, I am happy right now, and I'm also ready for the next level. And I think this makes all the difference in the world. I think it makes all the difference in the world when it comes to our energy. I did this because I watched older generations, and I've just seen it so prevalent of, always comparing yourself to motivate yourself. And I want to offer you another idea of start comparing yourself to yourself, right? Use people as role models. Find those people that are doing it, right? Find those people that are improving their relationships, that are females that are improving their assets and their bank accounts, females that are doing their inner work, females that have the relationship. Look at those to model, but do it in a way where you're not comparing yourself to them. Compare yourself to yourself, right? And so I hope that this video was helpful. I have barely done anything. I'm in my robe and watching some YouTubes in the morning while my son's on video and just having my morning coffee. But yeah, I came across a video just now on YouTube, and they were talking about some of these ideas, but then it really made me think of those family members that I've watched, and I've heard them sit there and complain and compare themselves to other people. But again, you don't know what other people have been through, or maybe they've already had their mountain, right? And now you're seeing on the other side, and right now you're at your mountain. Okay? Or maybe they haven't had their mountain yet. So maybe they are going on, this trip. Maybe they do have so many children, grandchildren. Maybe they are getting that house, right? Be great, cheer them on. We're not wanting them to come down to us. We're wanting to come up to them and be like, good for them. And now what can I do? Because you may be at the base of your mountain. They've already had their mountain, and they've already done the work to climb it and to get themselves to a better place. So again, this comes back to gratitude and making sure that when we're wanting to do inner growth, that it's coming from a place of looking around and finding what we're already grateful for and how happy we are and grateful for those things, and the desire that we're also ready for the next level and finding ways to go do that. So just want to say good morning to everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. We're just getting started for the summer. This is actually one of the first days of summer, so I'm very excited. And I'm still continuing to do my inner work. I'm excited to be sharing more about that with you, my journey as I go along, and things that I'm finding and things that I'm hoping to do different, right? Because I don't know, I may have said this in another video, but I kind of laugh now because I remember in my early 30s, I've always been into personal development, even when I was, I think, starting when I was 15, just having that desire and hunger to try to understand why things happen the way they do, right? I've always been pulled to try to understand why people do the things they do. Why do things happen the way that they happen? How come one person in a situation, they have a certain situation and they end up here, and another person has a similar situation and they end up over there? But I remember my husband saying when I was in my early 30s, I was still reading personal development books and things like that, and he made a comment of like, why are women so into personal development? Like, I don't get it. And I told him, because we're doing the things that people have told us to do and what our mothers have taught us, and we're realizing it's not working. And so how can we do things differently? Like we think we're doing the right things, but it's not working, right? Like maybe the relationship is not optimal. Maybe, the job career is not going the way you thought it was going to go. Things like that. And so it's funny because, I think men have had a very long history of trial and error, right? When we think about tribes, men for a long time have been in the positions that they're in, right? And part of this is just from a biological standpoint, right? Their physical strength, having more muscle mass, their height, things like that. Like, that's biological, right? Like, you can't wish that you were taller. It is what it is. It's how you're born. And I think men have just had throughout history so much longer of being in the roles that they're in, that knowledge has been passed down to them. And there's been a lot more trial and error and a lot more understanding. For women, we have not had the history and the time of being in the roles that we're in now. Does that mean that we don't want to be in them? No, that does not. That has nothing to do with it. People have fought for women's rights. We are happy that we do have these opportunities to have the choice to be in certain roles, right? Like in the business world and things like that. But we don't have that time and that history that I believe where we figured it out and we've passed down the wisdom to generations. Our mothers are newer at these roles of having opportunity and having education. Like my mom, she got her master's in education. She was one of the first in her family to do that, right? And so our mothers have been the pioneers, and their mothers have been the pioneers. And I mean, mothers have been pioneers for a long time, in various ways, and being creative and resourceful. And when men had to go off to war, yes, women stepped in, but then when men returned, then, you didn't get that sustained long-term experience of being in certain roles to really understand that world and pass that knowledge down. So what's happening, I believe, is, our mothers are the pioneers. We're still pioneers in a sense, but our mothers have learned as much as they can learn, and they have passed that knowledge down to us. A lot of that knowledge has been more in the masculine energy side, right? How to, have discipline, how to have structure, how to be productive, things like that. Because in these new roles, if we want to be in these roles, we are going to have those skills and experiences. So our mothers have passed down what they know, and we've taken that knowledge, and now we are doing it and going through our experiences. But now we're having to stop and look at, okay, what's working, what's not working, right? Like, what were some of the things that our mothers taught us that we found to be true? What are some things that were like, actually, that's not completely on target? And so I believe as we continue to move forward, honoring both the masculine energy and the feminine energy, right? And I think this is the other key of, I've seen in situations where masculine energy has been more honored in the feminine world, and the feminine energy has been put down or called weak or less than. Through all of my inner work and journey, I have found that wounded feminine energy, just like wounded masculine energy, that can be more on the weak side and things like that. But healed feminine energy is very, very powerful. I underestimated, and I still remember, and I hate this about myself, but I used to look down on women that had more feminine energy. I viewed them as weak. But what I didn't understand is that there's a wounded feminine energy and there's a healed feminine energy. Just like there's a wounded masculine energy and a healed masculine energy. And so I believe that we have been working on cultivating our masculine energy, and that's some of the knowledge that, our mothers have passed down. And now we need to take that and start to also honor the masculine energy inside of us and start to reconnect and find that inner feminine energy that we already have inside of us and start to integrate the two. And I'm really excited about this. I know that it's a pretty bumpy road though right now. There's lots of I think I'm going to make another video on that. I'm going to keep this high vibe. So one of the things that I'm so excited about though is that we get the opportunity to both honor our masculine energy and also honor our feminine energy and reintegrate the two, and become more of a healed, whole individual person. So when we're coming to the table with our family members, so when we're coming to the table with our partner or our children, we are coming to the table as a more healed, whole individual. And I think, well, my experience has been, I'm not perfect and I'm still learning and I'm still growing, but I'm trying to learn and grow now from that mindset of a gratitude mindset, and that I am happy where I'm at, and I am excited about the next level as well. I'm grateful for all the things. This doesn't mean that, okay, great, I had that thing, now I want more. It's, yes, I'm grateful for the thing that has come into my field, that has come into my world, and I'm also excited about the next thing as well. So anyway, just wanted to do a quick chat on this, and I have my Mother Energy mug. I have also gotten this for some other mom friends, and we have matching ones, which is excited. But I'm just excited to have women that we can learn from and we can model, but that we can come back and come to a place of comparing ourselves with ourselves. All right, I look forward to catching you in the next one. Bye.